I'm Anna and you're watching Food Love. I'm making pizza plus 2 other recipes using the same pizza ingredients. Want to see how I make all 3? Keep watching. So for my pizza sauce, I start by heating 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and to that I'll add a half a teaspoon each of dried basil, dried thyme, and dried oregano. To my food processor, I throw in 1 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes plus 3 garlic cloves. I'll blend this until there's still a little texture in the tomatoes. I add the tomatoes to the oil and herb mixture. And then I take half of an onion that I've quartered and I'll drop it in the sauce just for flavor. I'll go in later and take the onions out. I'll add pepper, some salt, and a little sugar for balance and to battle the acidity of the tomatoes. I'll put a lid on this and I'll let it simmer for about 45 minutes. So now let's get to our pizza dough. So in the bowl of my stand mixer, I add 1 1/3 cups of warm water, 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and 1 heaping tablespoon of sugar. I'll mix that up, let it sit for about 5 minutes or until the mixture looks like this. And then I start adding my flour. Now I start with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. To that I'll add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'll use a dough hook attachment for mixing. Now just a side note, if you don't have a stand mixer, don't worry about it. I baked for many years without one and my doughs were amazing. A large mixing bowl, a whisk, and a large wooden spoon will substitute nicely for a stand mixer. As you can see, I've continued to add more flour and I've done so in 1/4 cup increments until my dough has reached the right consistency. Now many variables will factor in on how much flour you ultimately use in this recipe. But starting with 3 cups and working your way up in 1/4 cup increments is a good rule of thumb. So I'm looking for my dough to start to pull away from the bottom of the bowl. And then once it's done that, I will pull my dough out. Now I could totally knead the dough with the dough hook. However, I never do that. I always flour my work surface and knead the dough by hand. I love this step. It's kind of therapeutic to me. And as you can see, there's not really much to the kneading process. It's basically just pulling the dough towards you and pushing it away with the heel of your hand. So you're just pulling it towards you and pushing it away with the heel of your hand in one fluid motion. So I'll do this for about 7 to 10 minutes until my dough is nice and smooth, and then I'll let it rest. So our first recipe will be focaccia bread. So for that, I'll need a 9-inch round cake pan that I've oiled with about 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. I'll take the dough that we made and I'll cut it in half, reserving half for later. And then the other half, I'll roll into a disc about 1/2 inch in thickness and I'll add it to our prepared cake pan. I'll cover it with some plastic wrap, put it in a nice warm place so that it can double in size like this. Now at this point, you'll want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Now I'm taking my clean fingers and I'm poking little dimples, if you will, into the dough, all over the dough. And if you've ever seen store-bought focaccia or purchased focaccia, then you'll notice those little dimples are characteristic of focaccia bread. So I'm taking some more extra virgin olive oil and I'm drizzling it all over the top of the dough, along with some sprinkles of dried basil and dried thyme and a really nice sprinkle of sea salt. I'm going to pop this into my hot oven for 20 to 25 minutes until it's nice and golden brown like such. I just want to cut this open. Now you can do lots of things with this focaccia, but I just wanted to show you how really easy it is to make at home. Beautiful. All right, so let's start on recipe number 2, which is calzone. Now I love calzone because it's easy to make and it kind of is like a pizza turnover. So I've taken the half of the dough that we've reserved, I've cut it in fourths, and I've made 4 small dough balls that I put on an oiled pan, and I've oiled the tops of these little dough balls and I've covered them. I'm going to put them to the side. Here's our pizza sauce that we made earlier. This needs to go to the side to completely cool. And this is what we're going to use to dust our work surface. This is basically some cornmeal mixed with flour. So those 4 dough balls have risen nicely. So I'm taking one and I'm flattening it out. And I'm even using my rolling pin to help me flatten it out into a round, flat disc. So I've got some of that pizza sauce that we made, followed by other toppings. The usual suspects: cheese, onions, roasted peppers, and some mushrooms. Just make sure that your pizza sauce is completely cooled. If not, it will melt through your dough and all your hard work will go to waste. So now I am sealing the edges of the calzone. I want to make sure I do this step very well, very tight, because I want the filling to stay inside the calzone while it's baking. And then I'm just lightly brushing the calzone with some extra virgin olive oil, which will help with the browning. I'm going to pop this into the oven at 450 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes or until it's golden brown like this. Look at all those nice ooey gooey fillings inside of the calzone, and I'm just topping it off with a little Parmesan cheese. So recipe number 3, of course, is pizza. So I'm just taking another one of those dough balls and I'm flattening and I'm rotating and I'm pulling with both my hands to get to the desired size and shape of my pizza dough. Now, if you would like to, you can make this on a round pizza pan, or you can make it on a sheet pan. You just basically put the dough onto the pan to do the shaping, and you put your toppings on, and you just pop the whole pan into the oven. I'm using a pizza stone because I like the way that the crust comes out when I use a pizza stone. And pizza stones are relatively inexpensive. It does take a little bit of a technique to get that pizza off of your work surface onto the pizza peel. But once you learn how to do it, you know how to do it. So I'm just shuffling it off of the peel onto my pizza stone, 450 degrees, 10 to 15 minutes, and look what you have. So I hope you like this recipe. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm wishing you joy and lots of food love.